In this episode of the SC Lifestyle TV, you're going to find out why gluten-free diets make me so angry! Hi and welcome to SC Lifestyle TV, where each week we give you one simple actionable step that you can use towards better digestion. I'm your host Jordan Reasoner and I'm a little bit calmed down, but this is still going to be a rant. I'm a little frustrated, and it started with a letter that I got from the University of Chicago Celiac Disease Center. I have that letter right here. I support them, but this is the letter that they sent me. This is the first line. It is now recognized that more than 40% of celiac disease patients respond poorly or only partially to a gluten-free diet. If you've been following our blog, you know that I put up a post called The Toxic Truth, and I also have another post called The Gluten-free Lie, which both detail my extensive research that between 40 and 60% of people don't even get better on a gluten-free diet. And that was my own experience. 2 years on a gluten-free diet, and I didn't get any better. So today I'm going to talk to you about what I would recommend that you do instead. Now, I want to start off by talking about the three-headed monster of celiac disease. And I'm going to show you a picture of it. It's really evil. And the three-headed monster of celiac disease is leaky gut, inflammation, and gut dysbiosis, which you may also know as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now that's the three-headed monster that us celiacs are up against. And the gluten-free diet is just not enough to go up against this giant three-headed monster. And I'm going to get to more of that in just a second. Now it goes without saying that gluten is obviously the kryptonite of anybody with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity. So I would never recommend that you try to eat gluten. But what I'm going to tell you today is that the gluten-free diet doesn't work. It's not enough for most celiacs. And that's my rant. That's why it makes me so angry. So if you were to write down one thing that I'm going to tell you today, it's that gluten-free diets don't work most of the time for most celiacs. And the research is beginning to show that. There's more and more people coming out that have an experience like I did where the gluten-free diet just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to get better. Now recently, Dr. Peter Osborne from glutenfreesociety.org invited me on for an interview, and we had a wonderful chat together, and he asked me a really powerful question. And his question was, if you were to recommend 3 things to every single person that was just diagnosed with celiac disease, what would those 3 things be? Now before I get into those 3 things, I just want to reiterate, you can't eat gluten. That's the bottom line. But my 3 things go way beyond a gluten-free diet. So get ready for our tip today, as we always give you one simple actionable step that you can take towards better digestion, and I'm going to give you 3 steps that you can take as a newly diagnosed celiac that go way beyond the gluten-free diet if you want to get better much, much faster. All right, now I'm about to share with you 3 really important tips, so I want you to get ready and write these down. Remember earlier when I talked about that three-headed monster, we're up against inflammation, leaky gut, and gut dysbiosis, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, obviously removing gluten is the first thing, but these next 3 steps are going to be really important if you want to heal your gut and get back to feeling healthy when you've been newly diagnosed with celiac disease. Okay, now step number 1, remove all grains. So not only just removing gluten and wheat, but removing all grains. I'm talking about rice, I'm talking about corn, I'm talking about quinoa and pseudo grains. Those all have to go. They all contain proteins that irritate the gut lining, cause more inflammation, and promote leaky gut. 2 of the 3 heads that I've been talking about. Now, step 2 is going to attack that 3rd head, that small intestinal bacterial overgrowth head that I talked about. And step 2 is remove sugar. Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you, but we have to remove sugar. I'm talking about table sugar. I'm talking about high fructose corn syrup. Those things feed the bacteria that are growing in your small intestine that shouldn't be there. Okay? And this goes way beyond a gluten-free diet. Okay? I'm talking about removing grains. I'm talking about removing sugar. And then there's step 3, which is even more important, and that's find a skilled practitioner. Now, we've been trained in functional medicine, and I highly recommend you look for somebody that's trained in functional medicine. But the bottom line is you have to find somebody that can work with a person that's recovering from celiac disease. There's so many other things that be going on in your body. You could have stage 3 adrenal fatigue. You could have thyroid problems. You could have thyroid autoimmune disease. You could have type 2 diabetes. All these things need to be looked for, but at the basis of it all is you need to get a blood test to see what kind of nutrient deficiencies you have. Typically, if you're a full-blown celiac, you're going to have horrible digestion and you're not going to be absorbing the nutrients that you need. So a simple blood test can tell you what supplements you might be able to use that can quickly help you feel better. Things like sublingual B12, things like beta-NHCl, things like digestive enzymes, vitamin C. All those things can be really important. Not only that, but I also wrote about vitamin D and how critical vitamin D is for leaky gut. So the biggest thing with step 3 again, find a skilled practitioner that you can work with and they can help you on the road to recovery. Thanks for being part of my rant today. I get really riled up about this stuff. The gluten-free diet is not enough for most celiacs, okay? It's a passion of mine to get the word out to every newly diagnosed celiac and every celiac that's not getting better on a gluten-free diet. It's just frustrating to me that most people out there just get a prescription for a gluten-free diet and they get sent on their way just like I did 4 years ago, and it's not enough. It's not enough to get better. And I hope that you wrote down the 3 steps that I gave you today, and I want you to move on beyond a gluten-free diet and get back to the path to healing. Now, here's the most important thing I want you to do today. This rant is very important to me, and I want you to share it with anybody in your family or friends that you think could benefit from hearing about this message, about the fact that gluten-free isn't enough. It's really important to me that I go back in time and help the person that I was 4 or 5 years ago. That was Google death spiraling till midnight, trying to figure out why the gluten-free wasn't enough for me, why soy-free, dairy-free, all this stuff just wasn't enough for me. And I hope that you can share this video with them, help them read some of this really important information and heal their celiac disease, reverse their celiac disease, and move on to living a normal, healthy life. Thank you. This has been Jordan Reasoner with SC Lifestyle TV, and we'll see you again next time where we're going to give you another simple, actionable step that you can use towards better digestion. Talk to you again soon. That's right, the gluten-free diet turns me into the Incredible Hulk. I turn green and my shirt rips and I get so mad. Sometimes I have nightmares about the gluten-free diet. I wake up and I'm all sweaty and sometimes I even cry. Seriously, I'm sweating right now. It could be these giant lights that are pointing at my head, but I'm really upset right now and I hope you can see that.